Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. Care management and a unique approach to care management. Well, here to talk to us today about what care management is, how it can help, and her unique approach to that industry is my friend Sue Rendler. Sue, thank you for coming today.
Of course.
So you're wearing a white coat, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute and how that informs what you do for your clients. But first, what's care management?
There's care management and there's case management. I actually am both.
Okay.
And my business is life care management. So care management is caring for the whole person, the disease, the life going forward, everything, the families, you name it, everything. Case management is per disease.
Okay.
It's very specific. Me, I do all of it. I
Got
take
it.
it all and put it all together, and then anything else.
Okay, so I've kind of referenced care management as sort of being like the quarterback, as far as when you're working with someone who has either an acute situation or a long-term situation, and they may need other resources. You're the one who sort of is the glue that brings them all together.
Pretty much, and because I try to tell people, there's not much I can't do, and if I don't know, I'll look it up. It's like I have a new patient. She has extremely rare disease, and I had never heard of it, and so I looked it up. So I have to do the research. I have to figure out what are the patient's needs. What is it that the disease is going to be? What's the process of that? What's the prognosis? Do they need to move to a facility? Do they need to stay home? What kind of durable medical equipment do they need to keep them safe? There's a whole picture that goes into this. So no matter what it is, I'm going to find out, I'm going to research it all, or if I know it already and I have somebody in my back pocket that I can call up and say, hey, can you help me with this because this is what the needs are, you name it. And I can do the simple things. I can help with medicines, taking care of that, organizing that. I usually work directly with their primary care physician, but of course the family has to give permission for HIPAA regulations. And once I do, then I let the doctor know that there's a nurse on board so that as an RN, I can get hold of them, request orders for different medications, or if there's a change of condition of the patient, I let them know based on my medical assessment. So it's pretty medical, but then I add everything else into it.
Right. Yeah. And so you have a really big tool belt, which is great with all the different tools.
Yeah.
So you reference the fact that you are an RN, you are a nurse, hence the white coat.
Yeah.
Because that's what you wear when you are meeting with your clients. You're not just coming in a suit. You're rolling up your sleeves. You're coming in with the white coat, and that does separate you from other care managers.
Yeah. I don't like to be, because I've been through this road where I had to be so professional in my last couple jobs, but I don't feel like I can be one-to-one with my patient, because I want them to know, even when I worked in senior living facilities, I said, think of me as your private nurse, because I want people to be able to feel comfortable that they can talk to a nurse about whatever, if it's cancer, if it's dementia, if it's their family member and it's not them. I want them to be able to feel comfortable to come talk to me. I am a nurse that's going to listen. And that's important, because no matter where we go from there, I'm going to help make decisions based on your medical health.
And you can really talk to the doctors differently than, if someone doesn't have that background.
Oh yeah.
You know the lingo.
I do. And sometimes I don't think the doctors really like it when I say certain things and then they have to call me back right away, because I know how to say certain things to get their attention, to really understand that, like one of the terms we use is change of condition. That's never a good thing, no matter what the patient, whether they have a disease or they don't have a disease, and something's changed in their health. That's a scary thing. And doctors are like, okay, what's wrong? What do we need to do? And I'm usually on it ahead of time to make sure that, if they have to go to the hospital, we'll do that. I'll send them and then I'll speak with the physician. Or if it's something that is not life-threatening, then let's get the doctor involved right away and get those decisions made. Sometimes it's talking to the pharmacist. I talk to them also because they're great. They know more about medications than half the time the doctor does, because the doctor doesn't have the full, all the years worth of medications, but the pharmacist does. And they have a system in their computer to they can see if there's going to be contraindications of different medications, over-the-counter medications that with the medications that they're on already, even herbal medications and foods and things that counteract with some of our medications that we take.
Yeah, and it's pretty intense because you could have comorbidities and all those things. You clearly have a passion for this. What led you to choosing this line of work, or not even line of work for you? It's not work.
Well, kind of a long story, but I'll try to make it short.
Okay.
Basically, I started many years ago as a medical assistant for 3 doctors, worked front and back office, and we had an X-ray department in there, and I thought that looked pretty cool. So it led me to apply for X-ray school. I couldn't get in right away because they were impacted. So I went and did a short stint as an EMT. Got to ride on the fire trucks with the guys.
Cool.
It was fun. It was a lot of trauma that I saw, and it gave me in a short amount of time, really what's out there. And so then I got into X-ray school. I worked for Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach for about 10 years or more as an X-ray tech. And my X-ray tech back then, it was included everything. So that means CT, MRI, ultrasound, mammography. I worked ER, the OR.
Wow.
So yeah, I pretty much saw everything. And one of my trainings was down at Mission Hospital in the trauma department. So we had the trauma bells that would go off and had to do everything. And you work directly with the doctors and the nurses, and it's a whole team process. And then was able to stay home for a little bit with my kids. And then I went back to go get my RN license. And because I wanted to keep doing more with my patients, that was one of the things. As I ended X-ray, I was doing mostly mammography and working mostly with the cancer patients. And so I really liked the one-on-one. So I went to nursing school, worked, Hoag hired me back. I worked the medical surgical oncology department. So you see pretty much everything there all over again. But I realized in the hospital, patients go home, what happens to them then? Who takes care of them? And then the love of my life asked me to marry him and move to San Diego. So I did a short stint in home health and got to see what it's like for people that go home after the hospital to have home health. And I was like, okay, this is great, but there's not enough. But my favorite couple in this, they moved to assisted living. I seriously helped move them with their boxes and stuff, and they were the cutest couple. And I walked in assisted living, and I go, wow, this is great. Can you guys hire an RN? What do you do? So I got hired, and I started to learn all about senior living. I started in a smaller facility. Then I went to a huge facility that had memory care, skilled nursing, and assisted living. That was a great experience. And then I got lucky to the next place I went to, I was the director of health services. So I assessed people before they moved into the facility. And then I had to make sure that everything was going to be appropriate in their apartment in the facility, and then made sure that my staff was there to take care of them, whatever it was. And so you get that high in corporate and you have a staff of like 12 to 14. Where's my nursing again? I'm not bedside. And I don't want to be bedside in the hospital. I want to be more one-on-one. So what we did is my husband and I, he runs his own business. He said, start your own business. He says, and I said, well, everything that I did in the facility, I can take to those at home. Because who has a director of health services that live at home? They don't have that. So if I can do the same thing that I did in a facility in a grander scheme at home and help them be safe in their own home or move to a facility, I will help with all of that.
Yeah. I've always been a very big fan of care management and case management because, like you said, people don't know what to do next when they come home. They don't know what services are available, and there's a lot to choose from. And to have someone like you with your background and all these different aspects of the industry, you've learned a lot and you've put all those tools in your tool belt, and now you can put them to good use.
Yeah, very much so. And every day is a new opportunity, a new patient that has a different diagnosis, and we just work on that, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
I had a lot of experience, not only from my work background, but my mom had Parkinson's disease at an early age. She had it for almost 30 years.
Wow.
So growing up, I learned about Parkinson's one-on-one with my mom, and I learned how my dad was running his own business, was trying to take care of her, and how difficult it was on him, and he was getting sick. So we had to hire caregivers at home. That worked to a certain extent because, even we went from daytime caregivers to where they had to sleep in different rooms because she would wake up in the middle of the night. He still had to sleep and run his own company to take care of mom. So it was really, really hard. So then she moved into a facility, and it was the right one for that area of that time of her Parkinson's. And then we moved her into a care home later as her disease progressed again. So we kept following all this area based on her disease. It wasn't based on anything in particular, except for as her disease progressed, we put her in the best place that was the safest and best for her.
Yeah.
And that's what I do now.
Yeah.
It's, I know it, I've lived it, and I've seen it, I've worked it.
You've got the professional and the personal experiences that kind of form who you are.
Yeah.
More information for Sue is on screen, so you can visit her website, give her a call. If you or a loved one are needing a care manager and or case manager, I think she's the one to talk to. Sue, thank you very much for joining me today and sharing what you do.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad to have this chance to talk, and hopefully, share this with other people that they can reach out to me, and I'll help them through their journey.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Sure.